understand exponent notation. So let's play with exponents. Now, first things first, remember that exponents are really just repeated multiplication. So when we talk about exponential notation, we're talking about a way or a shorthanded way to write repeated multiplication. So if we think of a problem like 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, I mean, we could do that. It takes forever. And what if we had 800 of them? So the key is, if we're multiplying the same number by itself, we can say, okay, I'm multiplying 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So whatever the base is, this is the base. So 3 is the base, 5 is the exponent. So we're going to multiply the 3 by itself 5 times. And that's the idea. Okay, so if I say write 5 to the third in expanded form, so that's the same as saying we have 5, that's our base, and we're multiplying it together 3 times. So whatever the exponent is, that's how many times we're going to see our number. Write 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 in exponential form. Well, the base is 2. How many 2's do we see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and therefore our answer is 2 to the 5th in exponential form. Now let's evaluate some of these. So 3 squared. Sometimes you'll just know these things, right? You'll say, oh, 3 squared, I know what that is. But if you don't, you can say, well, 3 is my base, and I'm multiplying it by itself twice. So 3 times 3 is 9. If I look at letter B, I have 1/2 to the third power. Well, that's the same as 1/2 times itself 3 times. So multiply the numerators, I get 1, and in the denominator, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So 1/8. So 1/2 to the third power is the same as 1/8. Now the last thing I want to talk about is the comparison between these two problems. You'll notice we both have -2 and we have an exponent of 4, but they're very, very different. In letter C, the one on the left here, we see that -2 is in parentheses, and the exponent is touching the parentheses. So that means we're actually taking -2 in parentheses multiplied by itself 4 times. So -2 in parentheses times -2 in parentheses 4 times. Well, if we think about that, -2 times -2 is a positive 4. I'm just going to do this one step at a time. And then positive 4 times -2 is -8. And I'm just bringing down the -2's that I haven't used yet. And then -8 times the last -2 is a positive 16. Makes sense, right? Every time we have 2 negatives, we have a positive. And since there is an even number of negative numbers, that gives us a positive final answer. Okay, let's transition to letter D, which is no parenthesis. -2 to the 4th power. So if you look at the exponent of 4, it is touching the 2 and only the 2. So this is the same as saying, okay, I'm going to take that 2 and multiply it by itself 4 times because that's what the exponent is touching. This negative sign is just out front, so it's going to stay out front and just kind of come along for the ride. So when I multiply 2 by itself 4 times, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. And then again, you take that negative and it comes along for the ride. So that simplifies to -16. So it's a very big difference. So it's important that you recognize, is the exponent touching a parenthesis? If so, then it's everything inside that parenthesis being squared or cubed or raised to the 4th or whatever the exponent is. But here in letter D, that exponent is only touching the number, and therefore only the number is being raised to the power, not this negative sign out front. So pay attention to the details. You should be fine.